Dear learners, welcome to another episode of Urdu Rasmul Khat, Block First, course code OUL 001. In this lesson, we'll learn about जीम group, its function and characters. इस सबक में हम जीम ग्रुप के बारे में बात करेंगे, इसके तरीक़ेकार और ख़ुसूसियात को जान लेंगे. This group is named as जीम group. 4 alphabets belong to this group. Like B group, they will form the same shapes. They are also different with each other only by dots and their positions. Gym has one dot in center or belly in its full form. In its full form, it has one dot, that we call it in center or in its belly. But when it turns into short forms, it comes below. The dot comes below. When gym or the alphabets related to this group, they will come in short form. They will turn into short forms. The dots will change their positions. Gym, the dot on gym will come into below or underneath. Khe also has one dot but at top. Gym has one dot, that is in below or in full form in belly. Khe has one dot, that's above or at the top. He does not have any dot. Che has 3 dots at center or belly like gym in its full form. But when it turns into short forms, the dots took the positions underneath. In gym group, the only difference is by dot position and quantity. That is, he no dot, gym 1 dot below, he 1 dot above, che 3 dots below. Dots are called नुक्ता, यानी जीम में एक नुक्ता है, हे में कोई नुक्ता नहीं है, खे में एक नुक्ता है और चे में 3 नुक्ते हैं. With the result, the group forms only 3 shapes. It is interesting. With the result, the group forms only 3 shapes. It is interesting that 4 alphabets turn into 3 shapes. The 4 alphabets Jim, Jim, Che, He, He. These 4 alphabets turn into 3 shapes. 3 shapes. 1 full form and 2 short forms. You have to know the dot position and number only. What you have to remember, dear students? You have to remember the dot numbering and their position. Like in B group, we learned that that also comes with the group. Entire group comes with dots. B with 1 dot, noon with 1 dot, or Fe also with 1 dot. B 1 dot below, noon 1 dot above. Similarly, here in gym group, dots also work. नुक्ते यहाँ पर भी अपना काम करते हैं. तो हमने क्या याद रखना है? नुक्ता उनकी तादाद और उनकी जगह, वो किस जगह पर आते हैं और कितनी तादाद में आते हैं. We have to remember only the dots position and their numbering. We'll remember again, we'll learn again. Gym group has 4 alphabets. In this group falls 4 alphabets. 1 Gym, Che, He, He. Gym has 1 dot. When gym will come in its full form, the dot will come at center or in its belly. दरमियान में आएगा, या जिसको हम कहते हैं बीच में आएगा, या इसके पेट जाव में आएगा. He has 1 dot but above in its full form and in short form. In both ways, the dot does not change its position. But in gym, the dot changes its position. When it will come in full form, the dot will enter in its belly. But when it will come in short forms. The dot will change its position and will come underneath, below. Okay, Hey has no dot. What is difference between Jim, Hey? The only difference between is because of dot, because of नुक्ता. नुक्ते की वजह से फर्क है. यानी जिसमें कोई नुक्ता न हो, when there will be no dot, that is Hey. When there will be one dot, that is K or Jim. When the dot will, what is difference between Hey and Jim? When the dot will be underneath or below, it is Jim. When the dot will be at top, it is Hey. And Jim has 3 dots. Like Jim, the dots go to belly. When Che or Chim, we also call it, when it comes into full form like Jim, the 3 dots are nukte. They come in its belly or center, but when Che also turns into shapes or short forms, the dots also change their position. They come underneath or we can say below. ये नुक्ते तब्दील हो जाते, अपनी जगह तब्दील करते हैं और नीचे आते हैं, मगर कब? जब इसकी छोटी शक्लें बनती हैं. ठीक, उम्मीद है कि आप ये समझ गए होंगे. You will have learned this. Now, as we said, that this group forms 3 shapes. This group forms these 3 shapes. You can see here in this picture that this group forms only 3 shapes. To this group belong 4 alphabets. 4 alphabets belong to this group. But when they work with short forms, they turn only 2 short forms and a full form. So we can say, we see here, observe here, 1 full form and 2 short forms. This is about Jim group. These forms belong to Jim group. Jim, Che, He, He. These 4 alphabets turn into 2 short forms and 1 full form. Second thing about this is all the forms are in frequent use. We are frequently using these forms. यानी ये जो शक्लें हैं ये तकरीबन तमाम अल्फाज के साथ इस्तेमाल होती है. As we saw in our previous lecture in B group that some forms are particular with some alphabets. Some forms are particular with some alphabets, but in Jim group here is we are at ease that these forms almost work with all alphabets. We are here at ease. So we say all the forms are in frequent use with all the alphabets. The first form is mostly used with alif and dal. What is the difference between these forms? A little bit difference. When we or you will go through your word construction, you will see, you will observe one thing, the first form and short form, there is a little difference. In the first form, it is like a circular. The head of this form meets with its belly and it encircles itself. ये जो है ये शक्ल ये बंद होती है, बंद है. तो ये बंद की सूरत में किन हुरूफ के साथ आती हैं? It mostly comes with the alphabets of alif and dal. This is not a general rule, but mostly you will observe the words form from this shape. Mostly they belong with alif and dal. It can come also with other alphabets. Second form is at ease with all alphabets, and like B group, full form of this Jim group comes at the final position, that is to say at the end. Jim group will not change its shape. two things we have to remember. The first form mostly comes with alif and dal, but it is not a rule. It can come with other alphabets. Second form is at ease with every alphabet, and mostly it is in Jim group. The second shape, the second form is mostly used. Most of the words are constructed from this second form, and about the third form we have learnt in Bay group that Bay group does not change its position at the end. The alphabets belong to Bay group. When they form the words at the end, they remain to their full form. All the alphabets remain to their full form. They do not change their position. Similar is the case with Jim group. Jim group, the alphabets belong to Jim group do not change their form at the end. When we construct words from this Jim group, we observe that the alphabets belong to Jim group also do not change their position when they come at the final or end position. Like Jim group, it will remain intact in its full form as it is written. Actually, it will not change its shape. Hope you will have understand this. Now, there are basic and different forms of Jim, Che, we call it Badi, He, and their pronunciation. There is another thing you can see here, and we will learn it our next lecture also with examples and practice with pronunciation. But here we will again observe this group forms only two short form, and every alphabet has its own one full form with dots. In the right side you can see two short forms, and in the second column you can see all the alphabets with dots. Dots make them different. And in the third column you can see names. Jim, we call it Jim, it has one name. Most of the people related to other places, most of the people in other places, they also call it Jim, we call it Jim. But the second word is Jim, Che. Some people call it Jim as well, but in Urdu we call it Che. Third is Hey. Third alphabet is Hey, but some people call it also Hi, and Ha. The Arabic speakers or those who study in madrasas, they also pronounce it with alif, Ha. And in some areas it is named as Hai as well, but in Urdu we call it Hey. We name the alphabets, mostly in Urdu we name the alphabets with Badi Ye, Yae Majhul, Hey. So you have to remember this, but some people call it with Alif Ya, and some people call it with Alif, and they name it with Alif. But in Urdu we mostly name them with Badi Ya, Hey, Che, and fourth alphabet is Hey. And like Hey, it is also two other names, Khai and Ha. Khai and Ha. Some people also name it Ha, and some call it Khai as well. But in Urdu we call it Hey, with Badi Ye. And we have here IPA at the end. This is used for pronunciation purpose, which we will learn at the end. So some pointers you have to remember in this group, that this group is called Jim group. 4 alphabets belong to this group, and when this group turns into short forms, it makes two short forms and one full form. What is difference between this group? Like or similar to B group, the difference is by dots, only by dots. In the B group, we observe that the difference is by dots, and in the Gym group, we also observed here that the difference is only by dots. Their position, when we talk about dots, जब हम नुक्तों के बारे में बात करते हैं तो दो बातें हमने याद रखनी है. We have to remember 2 points about dots. One is their position, where dot positions or comes or sits. नुक्ता कहाँ पर आता है. Second thing is their quantity. What is their quantity? In which quantity they comes or attributes with the word. When we will say about one dot, Jim has one dot, he does not has any dot, he has one dot. Then what is difference between Jim, he? The only difference is by the dot. Jim one dot. What is difference between then Jim and he? Jim one dot below, but in its full form in its belly, and he one dot at top or above. Gym 3 dots. This is all about gym group and the basic functions, how this group functions, how it is named, how it forms different shapes. Now in the next lesson, next lecture, we will see how this group forms, how it changes its shapes when it connects with words, other alphabets and constructed words. When it connects with other alphabets and constructs or forms words, how they form their shapes, and with which alphabets change their shapes, and will learn about its pronunciation. I thank you for your patience. I hope I have delivered the desired points. Thank you.